Okay, so when you're first starting out, I would recommend getting 3 different lenses. You can pick and choose of what ones you want, what one you think is right for you. But there's basically 3 that I think are really great all-purpose lenses. The first one would be the 18 to 55 millimeter lens. This usually comes with your camera, especially if it's a mid-range or entry-level DSLR. The reason why is because it has the 18 millimeter. That's a wide-angle focal length, so you can get nice landscapes and capture a wide-angle view. The next reason is because it can zoom into 55, which is great for portraits. The only disadvantage of using a lens like an 18 to 55 lens for portraits is that the aperture can only go down to f5.6, and another lens that would be better than using the 18 to 55 would just be the 50 millimeter, and the reason why is because that can go down to f1.8. And here's the 50 millimeter. If you're into portraits, this is like a must-have. And also, if you're into shallow depth of field things, this is also a must-have because the aperture can open up all the way to f1.8, all the way up. And this allows like bokeh effects where the background is totally blurred out and like the lights are like big blurry circles, but your subject is in focus. So this lens is capable of doing that. And another reason why this lens is so good is because the sharpness is absolutely tack sharp. I've heard that this is the sharpest Nikon lens ever made. Another cool thing about this lens is that it's a good lens to put a lens reverser on. And what a lens reverser is that you can put your lens on backwards on your camera. So, and that turns it into a macro lens, kind of. And a macro lens is like you can get really close up on subjects. So I could get like a total close up of my eyeball or like an insect or something like that, and it will be totally clear. The only disadvantage of using one of these lenses as a macro lens with the lens reverser is because you have to move your camera and your lens in and out like manually like that, and then take your picture. So if you actually had a macro lens, you could just use the focus ring on it. But because your lens is on backwards, you have no control over the focus. But you have the control of the aperture on this lens, which is great because a lot of other lenses you can't manually control the aperture. So that's an advantage to this lens. So yeah, this lens is it's like a good like kind of sort of like a specialty lens, but still it's like a good just default basic lens. Another lens, if you're looking for more of a versatile wide range, if you want to capture a wide range of subjects, I'd recommend getting the 18 to 200 lens. This does have some drawbacks to it, but it's, as far as being very versatile, it's totally good because you have the 18, right? And usually if you had the 18 to 55, it would just stop at 55, but this just keeps on going all the way to 200. And on a mid-range or entry-level DSLR camera, usually the sensors inside of the camera, they're cropped. So what that means is that instead of this being 200, this is actually 300. So you're getting really close up. So this is a good like wildlife lens, or like anything where you're far away from the subject but you want to zoom way close in and get a close up of them. That's really good. With this lens, there is drawbacks though. The first drawback is that it's not going to be as sharp as an 18 to 55 lens or a 50 millimeter lens, or like a standard like 70 to 200 lens. The more range you have in a lens, the less sharpness you're going to be able to have. But unless you're a perfectionist, you're really not going to notice any difference. You're not really going to care. So this lens is great. Another kind of drawback is that the aperture can only go down to, I think it's f3.5 on the 18 side, and then the max it's f5.6 6.3 on the 200 side. So that means you can't. There's not going to be a lot of light coming into the lens, but it's all right. Another drawback of this lens is that your camera won't meter like perfectly. When I meter with this lens, the 50 millimeter lens or the 18-55 lens, they meter fine. There's nothing wrong. But when I'm using this lens, sometimes if you're on automatic mode, the picture will be a little bit too bright or a little bit too dark, and so that can be kind of frustrating. And again, I'm using sort of a cheaper version of an 18-200 lens. It's by Tamron, and this is one of the cheaper ones. I believe Nikon makes a much better one that's a lot sharper and all of that. So yeah, this specific lens is not that great. Even the autofocus on this lens is really, really slow. But on the Nikon version, I'm pretty sure it's better in terms of sharpness, metering, and the autofocus is probably faster, I would imagine. So yeah, the 18-55, the 50 millimeter, and the 18-200 are great lenses. And it may sound like I was dissing this lens, but really this is a great lens. Just because there's so much you can do with it. But unless you're a perfectionist, then I would not recommend this. If you are a perfectionist, if you're a total perfectionist, then you're just going to be using prime lenses, and you're not even going to be using zoom lenses. So yeah, check the links down below to check out the prices of the lenses, and when you get them, tell me how you like them. And also make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to this